and like Mighty Mouse, who I believe fought at featherweight, a 240-pound bodybuilder, no fucking chance. The bodybuilder has no fucking chance, even though, Mighty Mouse fights at half his weight.
Right, exactly. Because, he knows what he's doing with his skill. I mean, because we're not talking about like bodybuilder, sure, but I mean like we're just talking about another fighter, higher weight class, who's got more than jiu-jitsu going on, right? We were just talking about jiu-jitsu
True,
over the noon spot. Hi guys, how's it going? So we just thought we'd segue in this way.
What's up, everybody? We're back,
Yeah.
starting with the high-minded discussion about MMA, jiu-jitsu weight classes.
Yeah. Which
Mostly
I'm not
because
I'm not good with the talk in it, really. For me, everything's just really personal. Like I'm there, I'm hitting the bag. I hardly like I get the Muay Thai guy on Instagram. I'm following him, Sean, because he's wicked good. And then once in a while, I'm looking at a thing. It's mostly just because I find myself often not in the right situation for like, let me go into some shadow boxing, or let me go out and hit the bag right now, so on and so forth. I was arguing with myself. I gave myself an extra hour of time this morning before this, and It was just like, I don't think I'm just gonna eat light. I'm not gonna do any exercise before the thing, and that's because sometimes I like to do something cardio-esque before breakfast, but not this time.
Huh. I mean, but even, hitting the bag or, hitting the pads, at least you're kind of, learning how to strike. You're feeling,
Yeah.
you're getting a feel for it.
Absolutely. Like I look really like bad, I think, when I have the videos I've thrown up of me throwing down on the bag, but mostly like I'm approaching hitting the bag like I'm approaching when you see me play my guitar. I'm literally throwing punches the way I'm playing notes on the guitar. It's just like I'm letting my body think, to be honest with you. Because like in a fight, especially when you're still not to mention, like, for me, like, I ain't gonna lie, I have to think about how my nervous system is gonna shift over the circumstances of the fight, right? Because I don't think about fighting competitively. I think about fighting because some motherfucker's starting a fight and that ain't right. I'm gonna get involved, which almost happened at the locker room in LA Fitness a couple weeks ago. or a guy who maybe was about my size was really, I think I mentioned this. He was piping mad about some insult that some guy who only speaks Spanish, who's twice his age, half his size, and he was assaulting him. Assault and battery. That assault means he did not hit him, but he was already assaulting him. He was actually assaulting him. Could have charged him with assault, not battery. So I was just like, he's about to batter this fucker, right? So me and 2 other guys in the locker room at about an aura's distance, at about 3 feet, we squared off until he stopped squaring off on the guy he was bullying. I said, come on, dude. Nah, don't do that here, man. It's just like, whatever. Just, dude, you just need to have a better day, man. He insulted you? Come on. Right? And so he kind of came and gave us a little bit of an assault, but it was more like a flinch test, right? So, like, I was like, holy shit, I didn't flinch. I did not fucking flinch. And that was...
hey, that is like, major fucking progress, though.
Right. Yeah. So, because who knows? He could have been carrying a knife. This is just LA Fitness. There's a fucking metal detector at the LA Fitness, right? He could have carried a gun. Could have had a gun, especially if he was of the urban youth. Oh, that means you're racist because you're talking about black. No, that just means that you won't admit that there's a behavioral problem in this culture right now, which has nothing to do with who they are as they are born physiologically.
Isn't it racist to assume that you are talking about those people?
Right. Because they don't like the fact that I chose the unusual speech pattern that is actually more accurate than just
Yeah.
saying they're black. Right? I'm talking about someone that you can expect when you realize their IQ level and where they're from.
Yeah, IQ level being
where they are immediately from, not where their ancestors came from.
Yeah.
Because
No,
different
yeah.
places have different ways that they find acceptable to act. This has been some of my diatribes on my drive streams have been in the natural law category, because as I'm watching this police state shit happen in the United States, and I have all of my anarchist friends that I love, the Mark Passio type of anarchists, the ones that are, they do not condone the left-wing anarchists. In fact, they condemn the left-wing anarchists, knowing the fraud of that they blindly have fallen into, because they actually take having no masters, or no no owners, if you will, and no slaves very seriously. But also the matter that, well, the law still exists because of what is universally obvious about transgressions against a person, and theft and loss of life, which is can be seen as a derivative of theft or vice versa. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the mockery of the movement, and it's just like, it's just like the only things that you can talk about right now is just look at the wonderful example of government being, doing this horrible thing to these people. Yes, I guess you could say that's like, I don't want to live under those conditions either, but we don't, because our behavior doesn't constitute that, because we're operating under morality and we're not transgressing. They pulled all of their state security apparatuses out of Washington, D.C. and other sanctuary places. They're practically governing them like England governs itself, and seems like the entire fucking infrastructure of the King of England. Just ask Canada now, who realizes it. When does the king show up and repurpose the law in Australia? Because Australia, you're in the same fucking legal commonwealth function. The king can just show up tomorrow and tell your fucking parliament at least what to do in trade. So anyway, my point is, because all of this is enveloped into the global leftist ideals of the open society, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that George Soros is the fucking guy. No, there is no guy. There's the open society and its highest servants, which can change, but it's typically within a bloodline because of the bloodline connection to the ritual magic.
Yeah.
And George Soros is, for the most part, a bagman. And he represents only one side of a Jewish feud going on, some of which is against us, some of which is just doing its own fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because there's, in case you couldn't tell, there are Jews that are all about being buck wild and fuck the Bible. And, I think Christians look at how Christians think Satanism is, and they don't think about what Jewish Satanism is. They have the harder time distinguishing it, because it's a Satanism that isn't just a mockery of Romanized symbolism, such, because Jews, before Roman stuff, didn't have a cross to flip upside down. So what symbols were Jews using to worship Satan if the cross didn't fucking matter to their rituals that way? Get it? So this kind of Satanism is what's running amok in places that we call sanctuary cities.
Yeah.
Because the morality is not there to justify the security of those people. They are curating those complaining about what's going on. Most of those people who choose to not be anarchists are learning a harsh lesson in what it means to have no police security. Here, our culture, we like being cool with one another and being honorable and not stealing from each other. And in that, we find the freedom to do anything the fuck we want because we're all just cool with each other. Nobody's fucking at odds and rude and inconsiderate and things, and if they are, it kind of gets ironed out pretty fast. And there's no need for the escalation for a third party defender, even though the option's on the table because they have jurisdiction here. They don't care because everything is chill. There's no victims of any kind, of any sort, right?
Yeah.
And before you end up becoming an anti-government anarchist, you're a libertarian who likes to see it that way. So as one who, before I became an anarchist, became a libertarian who likes to see it that way, when the fucking Watiko has passed through the madness, because we've now isolated Watiko to sanctuary cities. I believe that this, in the psychological framework of what we call the pandemic, which there's a reason why psychology terms and medical terms are the fucking same thing. They use words like contagion for thoughts, which is part of the Watiko scenario. So we've isolated Watiko for various things involving the overall organization of globalist criminal ground works via observation in sanctuary cities. Europe could be taking notes. Europe, please take notes. And this is what's going on. This is what's actually going on. Knowing a whole lot of cops, right? My cousin is an ICE agent, flies helicopters for ICE. He worked at diplomatic security before that, and he was a Marine before that. Honorable man, likes libertarian government himself, right?
Yeah.
The part of me that is somehow a nationalist and an anarchist agrees in the existence of Border Patrol and ICE. And not just because I like my cousin and believe anything he says, but it is good that I have a good and honorable man that I can call up once in a while and talk about what ICE is doing from his perspective.
Yeah.
Which often he just keeps to what he particularly knows, which is his district, in which he's involved with a lot of investigatory stuff, because ICE does that targeted work, right? It's a sting operation like FBI, right? They're doing FBI style sting operations to jump on people. Like, I live in a sanctuary state, and I'm working at a public medical building. I could experience one of these raids they hear about. There was a raid in Norwalk, where I am, just the other day. During the day, during work time, just like when I was working, around many a person who speaks no English.
Wow. Okay.
They all look like they're fucking good stand-up guys, right? So paper crime is paper crime, right? It's an unfortunate aspect of everything else. But listen, it's also, there's contract engagements, it's awareness of at the end of the day, none of this makes your transgression into our country uh, legal or lawful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, it's just it's fraud, right? It's fraud.
Yeah.
It has an economic impact, which also has the double economic impact of them having a job that an American could have. An American, such as a person from a disenfranchised urban area who hasn't been able to get off of welfare most of his life, would like to get the job from the guy who used fraud to up his station and get and try to get off the vicious cycle, and which also diminishes spite for capitalism in theory, if one could say,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't like publicly traded corporations. I think once you become a publicly traded corporation, you become this monster of democracy, of capitalist democracy, and it's horrifying because that's the thing that made the pandemic real. The government kept it kind of chill, but corporations that are publicly traded on the stock market are not like a person's private little company, like their little shop where they
Yeah.
manufacture little things that go out there, and everything is just straight money. There's no investors, or at least no stock market type of investors
Yeah.
pouring in and making their judgments on the values and stuff, and having certain amounts of creative control.
Mm-hmm.
So no, a publicly traded corporation can't do what the fuck it wants. If you want to have a small government, then that government has to operate in a certain then it has to operate in a certain way where it doesn't allow publicly traded big ass corporations to exist, right? And we have to make sure that we don't have problems underneath it that make the switchover worse. So we have to be in deep self-examination.
Phew. Yeah.
All right, wow, that's a lot more high-minded conversation to roll off than I thought we were going to have. How do we get here from fucking MMA blunderings? Do we have anybody who wants a reading? I see.
I mean,
What's
we
going
have
on? Hi,
we got
Susie.
yeah, we got Susie.
All right, Susie.
Fucking
We
hell, you
shall
went
we
off on
shall do the thing.
you went off on a tangent there, bro.
You know what? I needed to articulate that. I needed to get that the fuck out because I like a lot of the people in my social circles are from that, right? So that's a lot
Mm,
that's on my mind with content I create. I had to go on that tangent because everybody needs to level up where their way they think they're going to get their shit done works.
yeah.
That's why I changed, because I realized I can't get my shit done living the way I lived before and complaining the way I complained. It's why I don't meme that fucking much about anti-governmentness, even though that's my bottom line. I
Mm,
speak it enough, but I speak it of value. Memes are not a fucking enough. This is serious. You can't just put pictures and words together and somebody's going to know what a good world without government help looks like as they're trying to figure their own shit out and need something from it themselves. Just
yeah.
doesn't help. You help fucking work against it, you know, and hopefully it'll still work better. No thanks to you, because you have to contribute fucking something. Otherwise, why bother talking about it? You're just leaving people to completely break apart. And I think we can be a lot more compassionate of everybody robbed of their minds and their willpower in this whole debacle. So anyway, Let's have at it and give Susie her read.
Yes.
Thanks for sitting there and listening to me rant for however long you were here. $12. Blocked. Interesting. That's interesting that 12 is blocked just before 13. Now I want to know what 13 is. I don't remember what 13 is off the top of my head. Blocking it, non-people. Noble one's constancy bears no fruit. Noble one's constancy. Interesting. Great goes, small comes. Nothing moves or grows. Communication doesn't happen. Everything is negated and blocked. Perhaps others sabotage progress with a negative influence or no empathy. Even your brilliant ideas and best efforts come to nothing. Instead, focus on the smaller details of your immediate reality. What work can you do when nothing is working? Who are you when no one is noticing? So yeah, this is like, like me with writer's block, right? It's just like, I pick up the guitar, I'll play just something. We'll come along, but I'll sit there and then I just can't change it. And it's not good enough to be out on its own. It's just kind of just a flow state. I mean, it is, but not like it's just the guitar making the noise. I mean, like, it's not produced well enough. I make 20 million mistakes, but the point is that where I'm not making mistakes, I'm kind of throwing it out there and it's fire. And it's, and I'm being so lazy that I don't even edit, right? So blocks, right? So that's why I'm in this way that I am. It's that Issa energy, right? Being blocked is extraordinarily Issa, right? So this reading for Susie may be a reflection on me. It already feels like it, just because that whole rant was me getting on about a frustration of seeing how the anarchist movement is stuck, right? Because, man, up until fucking 10 years ago, 10, 15 years, more like, up until maybe about 8 years ago, really, it all made sense because I didn't believe certain things would change for the better. There was nothing establishing the growing some growing ideal, and then the resistance to that ideal manifested in the platform that was rejecting it. And it says like, oh, they're not supposed to talk about how they're against this. Now everybody knows they're against this. That's interesting, right? And that's this was, and because all these things happened in response to Trump speaking a few things, right? And so everything ends up relying on his whims, but that doesn't work anymore. That was fine in 2016, breaking the catalyst, right? And if he didn't lose in 2020, 2024 wouldn't have had revenge undertones. We've never had a successful revenge campaign like this ever, right? From once incumbent, so it's something quite, we're in we're in a very unique time for the record, right?
Yeah.
What we got here? Wood elemental, the tree frog.
Oh.
Tree frog is soul song, meditation, creation, rebirth. Right? Okay, you got blocked, you got tree frog. It's introvert, right? It's we're going, this is hermit. This is like super like hermit energy going on here. Okay. but you're hermiting not from in the cave. You're hermiting from atop the tree. Maybe you're hermiting atop the mountain, right? You're not. You're secluded by a place of effort. It's the effort that counts. And hi, Angela. I see you. Let me know if you want a reading. I will do yours next. Fucking A. Fucking A. And I got it. And there's the old man himself. All right. Yeah. So, in our focus position, hermit. Now, I don't know. I don't think I personally don't think I need to hermit. I'd say this is where we might be parting ways, and that I'm more helpful being on the other side of the problem, perhaps. But we'll see how my feelings change. But I feel more out of the equation now, honestly. Now that it's actually shown up.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Angela.
We got Raido, right? So in your private time in this way, you're working out how you do the thing that gets the accomplishment done, right? You're building your magical spell. So, where's our hermit's endeavors? This is like the inventor tinkering in his garage kind of thing, right? Two of bows reversed. So this is kind of like this is you've got a second chance coming around to make a decision. This is decision.
Yeah.
Right? So you're having a second chance at making this decision because you may have skipped the call to being alone, because for some people that's hardcore. That's a heavy duty sacrifice to go to isolate, to be afraid that you're going to lose certain relationship statuses out of the whole thing, and that's more. It's more important that you don't know and are, because you may rely on as a need, some people. So you bow to their call, right? And this keeps you out of being the hermit, is obligation to family, obligation to friends, obligation to works. And this isn't like hermit time for me is, it could be a day of the weekend, it could be an evening, right? You get the point, right? There's microcosms and macrocosms of which the hermit can be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Thorisaz. All right, yeah. So and that follows exactly what I just said, because all these people are calling for you. You can't get your boundaries up, right? You were failing at having strong boundaries.
Okay.
All right. Oh, keeping with the twos.
Oh.
We have the Two of Arrows. Now it's called Injustice, this card, which is a funny juxtaposition to the 11 card, which is the Justice card, which an 11 is a 1 and a 1, which is kind of like the two arrows here. Love how the numerology works. But anyway.
True.
So you've got Two of Arrows. That came up upright. Yeah. So there's the natural Libraic quality of this card, right? And so yeah, this makes so yeah, Decision and Two of Arrows in particular are so alike each other in this respect. So you're looking at your ability to set a problem right. Um, you see how to set the problem right, and you know she's a blind justice character, right? Just like our justice, our lady justice is also blind because it's really super simple. It um you this is why we have conflict of interest in court proceedings and stuff, right? If there's a certain personal rapport, not a professional rapport, but a personal rapport between a judge and a lawyer, or a lawyer, yeah, or somebody on the jury and a plaintiff or something. There's all these different things that remove blindness from justice, right? And it actually makes me think a little bit in that respect. Like, we don't have a blind goddess in Norse mythology that I know, although some may say that there's a sight situation with the Norns because they're like the Stygian witches, and
Yeah, I
they
was
were
gonna say,
they,
like,
they
isn't
were blind in Greek mythology.
like isn't one of them? Yeah, hold up.
Yeah, like if you remember, the Ray Harryhausen Clash of the Titans, the Stygian witches were blind and they had a crystal
I
ball
mean,
that was an eye, and then they had to use that to
we,
see.
but we
They
do
had to
have a
put it up.
blind.
They had to put it up to their third eye.
We do have a blind god.
Well, no, we have blind god. We don't have a blind goddess.
Goddess.
You
No,
see, the
that
gender of the
is
blind deity
true.
is flipped. That's my point. We have Hother, right?
Yeah.
And of course, Hother makes the blind decision to
Well, he's
trust
trying.
Loki, and the blind decision to do as his brothers were doing.
Yeah.
So, um, this is one could say that you are catching Loki uh, trying to manipulate the blind god. And we have Saul. So this is, I get the lightning strike of the Saul vibe it pops right out at me. This is kind of like, this is you're thwarting an assassination attempt here, right? At least, like remember, this is mythological allegory, so um you're looking at certain things and that represent something dying, right? And so you're trying to stop a situation from dying, or an idea from dying or being destroyed or whatever, right? So
Mhm.
that's the murder that you're stopping, and all you're doing is saying certain words to prevent someone else from saying certain words that allow them to do certain things that they should not do, because you are weeding out the bad element. And we have in Schooled's position. Interesting. It goes to the ancestors. So this particular issue that you have requires looking back at the to true and honored traditions that are related to the thing. You know, if it's something inside of a company, you know, you're going to go take a look at what was policy at this company in 1895, right? You know, if it's an old company, right? I don't know where you work or what it is. Or, you know, you're looking back to someone that you're dealing with, and you're noticing something in the character of somebody's great grandfather or something like that. For some reason, you know this. I'm wowing Susie over here as I see. Yeah.
Yes, you are. You are, as
All
per
right. Okay.
usual.
Okay, we got a double. So I had one in my between my fingers, and one caught and popped out up my hand. We got Ansu's is the one that popped out. So you know, you're going to get very profound answers from your ancestors. In this case, answers, ancestors, yeah, it's the same thing, right? It's related. It's all related. We have now we have ehwas reversed. So there's a caveat. You need to have a good empathetic relationship with these ancestors, right? So like you may be about to look into something of a tradition that you typically are going to expect to have a scowl against. In this particular case, you're going to be finding something within this thing you don't like. You know, just like I complain about Christianity all the time, but you know, I will source something in the Bible. You know, if it's really you know, necessary, in which I usually caveat that by saying, or whatever source they really got that from.
Yeah.
just to let people know I'm not trying to make something the word of God. All right, because I refuse to take a written book and say it is God's word. Anyway, so if you want to tell me about the question, I can expand upon this, or I can give you your whisper in the woods and have you on your way. So, okay, so there's a can't forgiveness going on. All right. Well, typically, if forgiveness is not the call, then revenge is the call. So, gods of revenge, Vidar, Horus, there are others. You can gain inspiration from working with such deities.
If you want to expand on it, Susie, you're more than welcome. If it is a little too heavy to share in public.
What I one thing I will say when it comes to forgiveness, because and I think you know my attitude about this as well. Should I forgive this dude? I never forgive anyone. First off, I never forgive anyone unless they're sorry. Second off, saying sorry doesn't mean you're sorry, right?
True.
So, they have to demonstrate through authenticity a state of being sorry. Oh, he's dead, you father. Oh.
Okay, that. Yeah.
Sure. Well, look, if he did a horrid conscious transgression upon you, then no, you don't have to forgive him. He went to the grave and never said I'm sorry, never said forgive me. And I'd imagine that you had a chance to tell him and he rejected what you had to say. I'd imagine all of that applies.
Oh, that's rough, though.
That's what I would imagine. Because remember, now we're looking at context here, you know, because your father is dead. He's passed into the realm of the ancestors. So
Yeah. Wow.
you need, well, like, you don't have to find forgiveness for him, but you do need to tap into,
Oh.
he continued to do what I forgave him for. Right. And this is a forgiveness. Yeah, right.
Oh,
And I'm assuming that you
okay.
told him, you actually verbally told him, I forgive you. Like he knew. He knew. Right? Like he effectively made a, did he ever promise you that he was going to change? Like what was there? What was there? Just want to make sure that you're not leaving out these little details in conversations and gestures and whatnot. They say something, and if you don't want to talk about it, you know how to hit me up privately. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Yeah, that's fine. No, you don't gotta fucking forgive. No, you don't. Um Now the question is, how do you have revenge on a dead man? How does one have revenge on the dead?
Oh, that's a tough question.
11 has popped up again.
Oh.
This is the Wood Ward. This is the Justice card for this deck. So with this reinforcement, all right, let's okay, I'm going to do not, unless you want to say about, or let's say that the example here, because this is too fucking common with a certain generation's ability to be monstrous towards women amongst our men, that has been a big part of what's caused wokeism the way it is, and has needed to be addressed by men of character such as us. Is, let's just say, was a matter of sexual assault as such, right? So you are looking for revenge. The best revenge you can have is counseling. You're going to go out and you're going to counsel people in these kinds of relationships. And bestow them with the wisdom of not just trusting a man for X, Y, and Z reasons why a woman will just make all she sees and all she knows that guy. There's some guys that are like that with a woman, where all they see and all they know is poured into her. I've been there. It is not the healthy way to develop a relationship.
No, definitely
And
not. I
if you
think
want an actual relationship, it'll be very, very, very painful to do it that way. So any young men listening, especially because of my young man experience in this, don't fucking get all obsessed in having a permanent, like having a big relationship because she's hot or something. If she's hot and your personalities gel right now, you will sacrifice your ability to change, because you will go into the uncomfortable transformation into what keeps her in your bedroom, and you will hate yourself and compensate by turning into Joe Rogan. You don't want that.
Oh no, that's the worst you can be. Oh man, no, but we've all been there. I think, well, always maybe a stretch, but a lot of us have been there, where we are defines by our relationship.
Degas, this inner power that wants to move with this revenge. That's how it's going to go. It's going to transmute, and that revenge is going to be, your counseling is going to be taking whatever person in that person's mind is, and then using everything that you ever would have said to your father, and you say that to the imaginary, not the imaginary, like the victim lays out who the abuser is, puts who they are in front of you by explaining it. Draw a picture, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tell this image, this imago of the monster, everything that you ever wanted to tell your father. And then you look at her and you say, when you can tell this thing that, which I never got to tell that son of a bitch, when you can tell this thing that as it applies to your relationship, and then burn it, you will be free. And you start to need tackling that responsibility. Otherwise, it's going to get worse, and people like me will not be able to help you in the right and good way.
And Susie, really, don't worry about chasing off the audience. Like that's if this helps you in any way, I mean, then this live stream is 100% success.
He begged. He happened to beg for forgiveness. Beg for forgiveness is just like
sub-violence.
The only answer to that is, you motherfucker, turn yourself in. Turn yourself in. Right, yeah. Do that for yourself first.
Yeah.
But that thought is not related to what the cards say, though. That came through me, triggered by the card. The symbolism of the wood ward. Right? Because that's not like that spell is clearing that out for you. Absolutely. But something told me about counseling here too. Right? Because it's the because this has to do with seeing him not just betray you again, but betray someone else. Maybe you don't have to make a career out of counseling, but maybe you just got to find one person to also counsel. And maybe that's also just like, it's for her, but it's for you too. That mutual need thing. Because remember, the AWA's reversed situation, right? I think it would be good of you to do something in a healing process that way. Right?
Yeah, I agree. Gee, Susie. Okay.
All right. So, what we got here?
I hope we have helped a little, at least.
So I didn't see Angela say she wanted.
Did she? Yeah. Let's see. All the way back here. Sweet yes.
Right.
That is assuming that she didn't get scared off by Susie.
Right.
And we have have violence here with us. as well.
Yeah.
What's up?
Okay, so Susie, you got all right, humility is also popping up, funny enough. Flowers are unaware of each other's beauty. They bloom regardless. All right, all right. So try to square the circle on this post-mortem revenge, but also humility, which, like I almost want to sense that there's the like it's not the man hater because I known you forever. You're not that girl, right? This is very specific to him. Um, but there is something towards a humility, or I feel almost like the word has a negative angle. So humility, perhaps, but would be much better. Like
Humility.
just
Okay.
something to tone down the rage.
Hmm.
Just so the rage can be channeled. Like you want to pour it into something productive, right? Like when if you want to let out your angry scream, you may want to put out your angry scream at the right time and place and set up properly, right? You know, um, so that way it accomplishes something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway,
And welcome to first time guest here, there, everywhere. Thank you for joining us. You came in at such a good time.
all right.
Are you doing readings for people? Yes, we are. Explain your process. Well, I mean, Zerilath is the reader. I provide the platform and commentary, if you will.
Hi. I have my own channel, Zerilath Eternal, here on YouTube. I do not do readings on my channel. My channel is for all manner of other occult, esoteric subject matter. And I choose to work with Greyhorn Pagans as a mutual relationship um, to expand viewership and bring in and hopefully bring in a buzz about me and my work in divination and magic. All right.
And there are readings being done indeed, but those are all intuitively. So just take a question or a matter in mind, and Zerolath will have an answer for that through through the cards, through the runes.
Yep. Yep. All right, cool. So don't let me know the answer, and hopefully be attentive if you want to share the question when I'm done with the read. Okay, 57. Subtly penetrating.
Oh, good stuff. Okay.
Creating small success, fruitful to have a direction to go, fruitful to see the great person. Okay, yeah, this makes sense to me. I kind of like, like when I show up to work, I try to have um that impact where like I'm falling in line with everybody else on the work site, just running around doing my thing like everyone else is just running around doing their thing. It's all pretty free flow. Right? It's kind of an Aquarian organization. It's organized chaos. It's pretty interesting, and the subtlety of watching the building get developed interiorly over time, where it goes from being a complete mess to being uh, really shaping up to look like something. and just do I perceive myself as working at a level worthy of or surpassing where I am now to push myself, right? And without standing out and being reckless. And so that to me kind of correlates, and it's aspects of the mind and the performance, like how you can help get a job done more efficiently, so on and so forth. Subtly penetrating means becoming part of something or someone, feeling your way into things, yielding gently to their nature. Such influence does not bring sudden transformation, it creates small success. Have a clear vision of the great person in reality or in your mind's eye as a model of the larger possibilities implied. How can you get to know this from the inside? What is taking shape? Yeah, yeah, that makes sense to me. Like I used to call um my radio show on Revolution Radio back in the day, maybe around 2013 or 14. I changed it from Project Red Beam to Ghost in the Machine. And the whole ethos of Ghost in the Machine was exactly what I just read on this card called Subtle Penetration. For exactly the same reasons why the Ghost in the Machine is named as such.
Mm-hmm.
We have the water elemental, the shark.
Oh.
For Angela. So you've got perception, focus, fear, and action. I wouldn't use the word fear if I were making this card, right? But focus, fear. I mean, like I would say something more along the lines of reflex, right? I think that you can have a nervous system reaction of self-preservation that is perfectly rational, that does not have to involve being afraid at the same time, right?
I mean,
Plus you look at a lot of professional divers now, 99% of the time they can fucking swim with a fucking great white at this point. People are getting really good with fucking predatory animals. It's kind of cool. It's like, are we returning to the Garden of Eden? Are humans and lions just gonna play together and nobody gets eaten because we're not on the food chain, even though we would be delicious and nutritious?
Man, I've seen those videos where like a shark is like swimming up and the diver is just like, nah, not now. Like
right. But it's all like, this is a guy who swims with the crocodile. It's like we had some serious anti-wildlife through fear of animal predators, like propaganda all over the place, right? It was propaganda because it was one thing to say, well, these are predators of the ocean. We don't quite understand them. And upon observation, we noticed that they probably, like this shark, it acts a lot like the cheetah that I once saw in the Serengeti and yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, a mankind overall just doesn't understand wild animals at a certain point, right? This is part of the death of paganism, right? Mankind, like, just look at what our mythos was and how many fucking wild animals were important to the mythos, right? So with this in mind, they threw all of that away. They threw all of that away with Christianity, right? Somehow, like, they just, because they wanted to control all the farmland. and they wanted to have people that would work the farmland but not live on the farmland, right? And so they were pushing towards these crueler serfdoms, right? Serfdom didn't have to be a cruel thing, but things got really bad, and then you were forced to pay your keep, and nobody was solving any of the problems, and yeah. But anyway, and like we fail, and then we think we have to change the government, and we never fucking point the fingers at ourselves. But anyway, so in our focus position, you have the Great Bear reversed, which is number 20. Right? So that's the judgment card.
Again with a judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need to stop judging people, seriously.
So you had a major milestone moment, and it didn't turn out well. And it's about this moment in time that has happened or is happening that didn't turn out well. Let's see. Got Thorisage. There was an issue with boundaries in this one again. Something wasn't properly protected in process, and it fell out of good judgment. Its origins.
What are y'all doing? Really? Chill.
So, 7 of Stones, healing. So you never made a protected space that was appropriate for whatever healing process you went through. So you didn't get the healing out of whatever healing you tried. And that's why you're sitting in this this place of poor judgment. You have Algi's reversed, right? So you're in kind of a very vulnerable state. There's a weakened state here where it's hard for you to keep people away, right? You're just like you're having a lot of trouble with the no word in that respect. Let's see. So you got 5 of Stones reversed, endurance. So because of the health troubles that have probably spiked up recently, you're having a real hard time being able to keep up with everything that you need to do. Degas.
Again.
Yes. So you're trying to carry your spirit on this endurance, and so you don't want to stop what you're doing. You have to stop what you're doing to get the healing in to endure.
I think your reading is resonating with more than just one, bro. This is supposed to be Angela's reading, but here,
I
there,
see
everywhere
here, there.
is.
Yeah, I see here, there. Yeah.
I mean, hey, if it's resonating with you, then good, good, really.
All right, and we got 7 of Vessels, mourning. So that's here in the Skuld position, right? So you're not healing because you didn't let go, and so you're going to be continuing to kind of lament with the feelings that you're going over in this situation. Okay, thank you, Angela. We're getting very close here, so if you find a minute to tell me what this read is about, we're just about good to go if you want to share.
I mean, she's on a quest, so.
And here's Nalthes. Like I said, you're having trouble with no, right? So I would say that something mixed within this coming morning is going to be a defeatist kind of spirit of the thing that was in the way of the healing prior in the past that is now making your endurance a harder struggle. And you need to dispel this negative spirit in your head.
Man, we're all just fucked up, aren't we?
All right.
Dude.
Well, I'm reading Angela. If Angela wants to share her level of empathic, we're all empaths, unless we're psychopaths, in which the psychopath mimics the empath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, different people have. Some empaths are just having a hard time controlling their emotions around other people, so like they're actually nothing special. It's just that we had become such an uncompassionate world that a person being able to compassionate with someone else had become an alien concept and seemed akin to a superpower. However,
yeah, true.
There's also the empath who has paid attention to how that energy works, and its sensitivity has worked very hard and is now a master of their energy field and can be a subtle influence in it.
Hey, there you go.
So funny. Good question, because that card was right there for me. Anyway, so it's about staying or leaving in a foreign place for present opportunities. Ah, okay. All right.
Hey, that's why I said, if it resonates with you, it resonates with you, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So,
staying or leaving in a foreign place.
Huh. Okay. Well, it would seem the reading leans on no. Well, the reading definitely leans on no, because it would seem that you're avoiding this healing situation, right? You get the Seven of Vessels, the morning, right? So I would say that you should leave and you should go somewhere that experienced the loss. Maybe it's a personal loss, maybe it's an ancestral loss or something like that, but a place of loss, and go there and perhaps weep for it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, staying in a foreign place is, of course, a very good way of trying to escape those emotions. Because if you're in a foreign place, a place that you don't know, that is unknown to you, you don't have to feel those emotions because they're not around you. There is nothing to really remind you of those emotions. Yeah. So in order to properly heal, you're gonna have to go back to that place.
Yeah.
Whether that be like an actual physical place or a mental place, emotional place.
Yeah. And so lastly, patience. Okay, so you had trauma at the start of the journey. Well, that explains that Seven of Stones, right? That once again, the healing reversed, major deal. The algae's reversed trauma. Yeah, trauma. Like there's trauma, there's physical trauma, but typically when we say trauma in a way that matters to your life per se, it's that lingering. We're talking about mental trauma, emotional trauma, something of that sort. We have patience, where everything is to be accomplished at nature's pace, right? So there's no need to rush anything. But let's just say you wanted to go far away. Maybe you want to move not so far away temporarily and maybe expand your trip out over the course of a few months. Yeah. So anyway, it's been a little over an hour. And so I got some stuff that I got to do before 2:00.
Okay. So, well,
here, there, everywhere. I am sorry, man. We ran out of time. But tune in usually Saturday or Sunday next week.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll be here again. And then Zerilath@yahoo.com. If you see these things and you're like, you know what? I'll order a reading.
And that's going to be like a more personal reading, a one-on-one reading, of course.
Yeah. And it's transactional because I am a non-fraudulent capitalist. I don't know what the hell I'd say. Point is, I'm working on making money over here.
I'm working over here.
Right.
No, but yeah, thank you all for joining. And here, there, everywhere. I mean, I'm glad that the reading for Angela resonated with you as well. If you want a full reading for yourself, make sure to come back next week. Probably Saturday. It's looking like Saturday. So make sure to subscribe. Make sure that if you do subscribe, to hit that notification bell as well. That goes for everyone watching who isn't subscribed as of yet, because I know, especially with my channel, for some reason, YouTube has a tendency to not send out the notifications whenever I go live or whenever a new video or a new episode of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast drops. So make sure to do that. Also, make sure to like, make sure to share, share the love, share the readings. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, if you can contact Zerilath personally, of course, for that, Zerilath@yahoo.com, or you can come back next week where it will be more public, but Zerilath does these amazing readings. That's why we've done them weekly. Well, give or take weekly. Sometimes life gets in the way. Since December, this has been going on since December. So that's man, that's closing in on a year now. That's crazy.
Right. Has it been less than a year? I could have sworn we've been doing this for almost 2 years now.
Feels like it. Yeah. No, it was
December 2024. Really?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I believe so. Let me double check. Actually, I believe it was.
That sounds wild to me.
I believe it was before the solstice. Let's see, 8 months ago, December 7 is when our first one was. So beginning of December.
Really, 24, not 23.
No, 24.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Awesome.
Seriously, I thought it was. could have sworn we went through so much more
Oh,
commentary on.
but dude, we went through so much already with these readings and these discussions and everything. So yeah, damn, and
Yeah.
thank you here, there, everywhere for being here again next week. In the meantime, do check out Zerilath, his channel, of course, Zerilath Eternal. Check out the Greyhorn Pagans. Check out my channel. I have so much more to offer than these just these live readings. So thank you all for joining us. This was a okay. Cheers. And on that note, thank you all. Until next week, we'll see you soon. Have a good day, have a good evening, good night, whatever it may be for you. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.